In the news, father on trial, charged in his son's death. Scarborough reacts to the Bill Hancock's verdict. And Pickering Museum Village draws on history.
What's the address?
We're at Carabab Court.
What number?
901.
Okay, what's going on?
My dad's killing my brother.
A 911 call from a scared young boy whose brother was being killed by his father was played in court Wednesday. Joseph Meehan is charged with the 1997 murder of his 8-year-old son, Michael. The Crown alleges Michael's throat was slashed because he refused to take a shower at the family home on Carabab Court in Scarborough. Joseph Meehan was diagnosed with manic depression 12 years ago. Defense lawyer Anthony DeMarco says it's a horrible tragedy.
He's incredibly remorseful. I mean, this was, of the two sons that he had, if you had to pick a favorite, this would be the favorite.
A number of witnesses from Carabab Court testified Wednesday, including Leonard Wesley, who lived in the apartment directly above the Meehans.
From what I hear now is his father that had went to the kitchen and grabbed a knife, and he goes, "Oh my God, he's coming." Then he went into the bedroom, and then he came back out. He goes, "Oh my God, he's got blood all over his hands." And that's when I went and phoned 911.
Also in court, videotape testimony from Michael's brother.
He has the knife, you're gesturing like this.
Yeah, something.
And where, in what position, whereabouts on Michael is the knife?
It looked like it was going to go into his throat.
Tuesday, Meehan's ex-wife Yoko was on the stand. She was in Japan at the time of the murder. She testified about Joseph Meehan's love for his son and his unselfishness. The Crown says Meehan has admitted to killing his son, but has pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder on grounds of his manic depressive state. The trial continues Monday. Toronto police have made an arrest following Wednesday's sex assault in the Old Kingston and Meadowvale Road area.
This morning at about 3 o'clock, a young girl was awoken by a suspect in her bedroom. The suspect immediately attacked her and sexually assaulted her.
Charged is 30-year-old Dwayne Frank. Police say contrary to previous media reports, he was not known to the victim or her family.
There may be a possibility here that perhaps he was recognized from somebody who frequented the area, but there was no relationship, there was no friendship between them whatsoever.
The 17-year-old victim was taken to Scarborough Grace Hospital. More than a year after Constable Bill Hancock was stabbed to death in this Scarborough parking lot, 2 women have been convicted of his murder. Tuesday night, Elaine Rose Cece and Barbara Taylor were found guilty of second-degrry murder, a decision many Scarborough residents agree with.
It was a good decision. I think no one goes walking around with a butcher knife, and they say they didn't mean to kill anybody. They're wrong. That doesn't make any sense.
Others say the charge should have been upgraded to first-degree murder.
I understand that it's very hard to make first-degree stick, but certainly I think that there was no question when you're carrying a knife or any type of weapon, you have intent to do harm. And as far as I'm concerned, that is first degree.
Ed Durham says he's more concerned about when the 2 women will be eligible for parole.
I do believe the right decision was made. The one thing I'm waiting for, though, is a sentence as to what it should be. And I do believe it should be at least 25 years without parole.
SPN's Sarah Minhas was at the courthouse when the decision was handed down.
Mrs. Hancock's has been a pillar of strength through this with the 2 young children. Couldn't speak to you tonight because she's too overwhelmed by emotion. She's satisfied that justice was done tonight, but it doesn't bring her husband back.
The jury handed down guilty verdicts of second-degree murder for Elaine Rose Cece and Barbara Ann Taylor after about 12 hours of deliberation. The jury came to the conclusion the women had intended to kill Detective William Hancock with a butcher knife at Centenary Plaza in August of last year.
When the verdict came down, both women looked straight at the jury. Then Cece started to cry, and Taylor bowed her head.
And jury members couldn't hold back their emotion either. At least 4 broke down in tears.
I think it was an extremely difficult decision for them to come to, and they took a lot of time, and I'm sure very carefully went over the evidence.
It was something that obviously, from my perspective, the jurors didn't want to do, but for reasons of law and their finding of fact they felt constrained to.
And it was emotional for everyone, council included.
The night he was murdered, Hancock was working undercover, as seen here shortly before the stabbing, buying a can of pop and a chocolate bar at the Centenary Plaza Becker store. Acting Chief of Police Michael Boyd said the verdict sends a clear message.
Well, it's important to us that when a police officer is out there performing their duty, that it be recognized, because we are performing a special role in society, protecting society, and I think the jury recognized that and brought back the correct verdict tonight.
Craig Bermel wanted to pass along his warmest wishes to Kim and her family and Bill's parents and to the officers that were involved. Certainly it's not a time to be happy, but there is a measure of satisfaction in that second-degree murder verdict was rendered against both individuals.
Defense lawyers had nothing but praise for the Hancock's family.
They were here every day, and it must have been most difficult for them, and they handled themselves in a very dignified and classy fashion, and I was most impressed by them.
Beyond dignified, David. I said to you during the course of the trial, the Hancock's family, as far as I'm concerned, are the paradigm, the epitome of being dignified.
Cece and Taylor will get life in prison. Parole eligibility has yet to be decided by the judge. At least one juror recommended no parole until after 25 years. Defense lawyers are asking for the minimum of 10 years.
Cece and Taylor will be back in court December 15th. That's when the judge is expected to hand down their sentences. At the University Courthouse in downtown Toronto, I'm Sarah Minhas, SPN.
How does waiting for a bus for an hour sound? TTC staff are proposing cuts in service on Pharmacy Avenue north of 401 that would mean hourly service instead of the present half hour.
People just end up walking. 60 minutes I can walk down all the way to the end of pharmacy, so there's no point in even taking a bus.
I often use this bus from Monday to Friday because I go to work taking this bus, and right now it's already long enough, the 30 minutes wait, and an hour more probably be I'd probably be late all the time.
I think that's insane. You already have to wait too long for this bus anyways. In January it's cold. You get off school, you have to wait an hour for the bus to come. The bus should run every 15 minutes.
Scarborough Councillor Shireen Shaw says TTC service cuts are not acceptable and the public should have been consulted before these changes were proposed. Shaw says she plans to hold a public meeting to learn what TTC riders in her ward think about the service cuts.
The only public involvement in any of these reductions have been a notice being posted in a bus shelter from 1 week to 4 weeks. And that notice tells you after the fact that these changes are going to be happening as of January 2000. So it really annoys me, quite frankly, that there hasn't been public input.
Other service cuts include Huntingwood, Brimley, and routes to and from Scarborough's U of T campus. They take effect on January 1st next year. TTC officials blame the cuts on poor passenger levels. Scarborough's Community Council wants a number of service cuts to be reviewed by the Toronto Transit Commission, including the route here on Pharmacy Avenue. Council says no rider should have to wait more than 30 minutes for a bus. The Transit Commission will decide whether or not to approve the service changes at a meeting on December the 8th. On Pharmacy Avenue in Scarborough, Bill Fletcher, SPN.
We don't want to remember this special year honoring older persons as the year we were shafted.
Scarborough seniors make a final appeal to Community Council to reinstate the 2-hour line dancing program at Lamoureux's Community Recreation Center.
This program is so popular that people line up at 7 o'clock in the morning to get a registration into this class, which opens at 10 o'clock.
Following amalgamation, the city cut the class down to 1 hour and raised the cost from $13 to $18. Area Councillor Shireen Shaw praised the group for taking action.
I think it sends a very positive message to all members of council and in fact to local residents to get more involved in local government.
In the end, council reached a compromise. Classes will now return to 2 hours at the new cost of $18. Staff have been instructed to report back to council in 6 months. 900 seniors on the waiting list at Yihong Center for Geriatric Care can look forward to a new facility. The project is one step closer to reality now. On Tuesday, Scarborough's Community Council agreed to recommend a new $100 million project to City Council. A residential development plus Yihong's nursing home and retirement home are proposed on 20 acres of land at Middlefield and Finch. City Council will vote on the project November the 23rd.
Thank you. Are there any more? No, good.
It's 3 months into the school year and teachers still don't have textbooks for the new provincial curriculum. Staff at Our Lady of Fatima Catholic Elementary School say it puts them in a difficult position.
It's a lot of legwork on the part of the teachers. It's a lot of extra time. I know that I've spent a lot of my own money getting the appropriate resources that I need for my classroom. A lot of research. A lot of calling the publishers, asking for free samples of stuff.
Catholic teachers say there are 2 reasons for the shortage. Books are still being published, and there isn't enough money to fund textbooks for an entirely new curriculum.
An average textbook is $25. An average classroom may have 7 or 8 subjects to teach. If you're going to introduce a whole new curriculum in the province, and by extension a requirement to buy new textbooks or new learning materials, then you need more than $75 per student per year to buy those books.
Minister of Education Janet Ecker wasn't available for an interview, but her office did tell SPN that the government is spending $100 million in textbook funding across the province this year. But Catholic District School Board trustee Mike Delgrand says that simply isn't enough when there are shortages in other areas.
When you have to choose between a teacher and textbooks and you have to meet the minimum requirements of the government for class sizes, you don't have a choice. You have to have those teachers to meet the government. It's almost like a catch-22.
But what condition does that leave the classroom in when there are also new provincial report card standards?
When we have expectations that are encoded in the new report cards and we don't have materials to teach all of those expectations, it puts a great deal of stress on the classroom teacher in trying to be responsible for that new curriculum, as well as on the students, and sometimes even parents who want to help when you don't have materials that you can send home so parents can help with.
To speed up the process, some principals have considered fundraising to buy new textbooks. The principal of Our Lady of Fatima says it should take about 3 years to gather the resources they need for the new curriculum. With an election in just over 4 years, it wouldn't be a stretch of the imagination to expect a new government to implement a new curriculum. At St. Clair and Pharmacy Avenue in Scarborough, I'm Lisa Fender, SPN.
That's a boy. Perfect. Okay, everybody watch how Anthony comes down.
The 4th annual sports festival at Variety Village is well underway. Wednesday morning it was unlimited games, stations set up to test coordination and strength. Rock wall climbing was a big hit.
It's kind of like fun, but it's a bit weird.
In what way is it weird?
Because when you go up, you're thinking that you might fall, and you don't want to fall, but at least you got the belt on to protect you and someone down there to help you.
Take your marks, get set, go!
Unlimited games, track and field, powerlifting, just a few examples of the recreational activities planned for kids of all abilities. Over 2,000 people are participating.
Most of the kids that you will see here will never get the chance to represent their school. They don't get a chance to wear a school t-shirt in a games or on a volleyball team or a basketball team, and they come out today and tomorrow they'll say that they won the medal at the village and they'll have their ribbons to show for it, and it's really recognition of what they put in.
Organizers say they are amazed by the sheer determination and smiling faces at this event. The festival has received global attention. Kids from the U.S. and Asia will take part in the competition before the games wrap up on the weekend. Some of the athletes have few words to express their excitement.
I just practice for it.
So you practice a lot? That's why you're so good at bowling?
Yeah.
But their actions and body language say it all. Closing ceremonies, including a dance and award presentation, are scheduled for 6 p.m. Saturday. At Variety Village in Scarborough, Teresa Madalino, SPN.
This was one of 3 touchdowns scored by West Hill's Derek Brown Tuesday, leading the Warriors to a 29-12 win over Agincourt. The victory completes an undefeated regular season for the West Hill senior team and gives them the title of Scarborough High School champions.
Great. It's deserved. We played good all season, and it's just something to top the cake.
Well, it was a good football game. Kids didn't give up. West Hill's a pretty tough team. We knew what we were getting. We knew Derek Brown was going to be a tough back to contain. We did a pretty good job, but you know, when push came to shove, they were able to get a couple more yards than we were able. A couple more yards than we could stop.
They're really good. You know, those guys, they've been playing football. They know what they're doing. They have a lot of intensity. So, you know, they came prepared to play football, and then that's what they did.
In addition to Derek Brown's 3 touchdown runs, Luke White also scored a major. The victory puts the Warriors into the Metro Bowl playdowns. West Hill will play either Central Tech or Western Tech at York University on Saturday.
That is carried. The motion is in respect of planned events to celebrate the upcoming millennium.
Teens in Pickering will be dancing the new year away after council approved 2 teen dances set for December the 31st. The proposal for the dance came from the Culture and Recreation Department and the Youth of Pickering.
The youth have gotten together to form their own youth advisory council, a millennium council, to work with myself and the staff. They came up with just a dynamite proposal that for the first time they have been empowered to carry out.
Jenny Cooper is with the Culture and Recreation Department. She explains why the town of Pickering chose to throw the dances.
The town of Pickering decided to put on the teen event in light of the feedback that has been obtained by the Department of Culture and Recreation regarding the needs that youth have identified, and one of those needs was to have a teen dance on December 31st.
Jenny says the department is still looking for volunteers. If you would like more information, call them at 905-420-4620. Pictures with some real history were unveiled at the Arts Center in Pickering Village Wednesday. The sketches are part of a Millennium project put together by members of Ajax Creative Arts. All the drawings depict Pickering Museum Village buildings, pictures recreated from photographs.
I had many artists that were really thrilled to do it. Altogether, 18 artists have produced sketches. There were many more that would have liked to participate, but there just wasn't enough photographs.
I'm just really grateful to the group of artists that have done this for us, because I think that we are really excited about the quality of the art and the ways we already are able to see that we'll be able to use for the museum.
The sketches, along with information about the buildings, will be put into a booklet and made available to the public next spring.